The FNL Network Talk Show.
All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the FNL Talk Show. Me and my bevy of beauties are here. We've got Eugenia, Kat, and we've got Diana. Like looking great, everybody. You know, we got red hair, blondes, brunette, black hair. We've got all the angels represented. How are you, Charlie's Angels? How you doing?
Are we Sean's angels?
Why not? Be my angel.
Yes.
I've met many devils. I need an angel. I'll take an angel. Let's do it.
I guys promise I'm not driving and texting. I'm just, in transition of somewhere to somewhere. Doing great.
Are you drinking, driving, and texting? I'm kidding. Awesome. Well, today, I don't know about, where are you, Eugenia? Because I'm curious.
I just landed in Los Angeles 2 days ago and, running errands after not being for a month in the country.
Okay, because I think the other two ladies were also in LA. Like in New York, we had 75-degree weather today. So I am loving global warming. I mean, personally, I don't know any polar bears, so if a couple bite the dust, I don't know. I'm already with it being 75 in November because this is very rare. It was like daylight savings time, and that's why I have my little fake beach drop in the background because when do you wear shorts in November in New York? Never, so it was crazy, anyhow. So I was very happy about that. How are you all affected by daylight savings time? Any difference in California today or not so much?
No, but it's cold. It's really cold.
Oh.
It's we're going to have 3 days of rain and just feeling like winter. It's
really?
Time for hot water bottles and snug socks and pajamas, basically. So
you know what's weird? What's weird is in London, the day savings is a different week. So actually, this is my second one, and it's so confusing.
And even with time zones, funny enough, I remember a couple times I've taken cruises throughout Europe, and then because I kind of look Mediterranean ambiguous, everybody would speak to me in their native tongue, and I'd wake up and be like, what country am I in? I have no idea. So yeah, I can understand with time changes and daylight savings. Yeah, it's a lot. Why do we need this?
No.
All on a time.
No. So my friend Nicole actually told me it had to do with years ago, kids farming and going back to school and all that. And then she went on, we were drunk one time and she went on a rant at the bar and she was like, the kids aren't farming anymore. We don't need this. And I'm like, yes, Nicole, preach sis. I'll endorse you any day.
I'm with you. Yeah. I don't personally know any farmers, but I'm sure, I like produce. So I support you if you are.
But it makes me very depressed. When the sun goes down earlier, it makes me very sad. I feel like I can't go on my walks, I normally like to do in the evening. And I feel like I have to get everything done before the sun sets.
And it's worse on the East Coast. It'll get dark in December in New York at 4 o'clock.
Yes.
That's horrible. I mean, but everybody's still in the holiday mood, so it's not so bad. Comes January, everybody has bills from the holidays, everybody's bitter. And that's when you see the results of it getting dark at 4 o'clock. So, I mean, that's when I really am not loving life. I mean, which brings me to my first topic. So we just had Halloween and now we have Thanksgiving, which honestly I have many odd feelings about the origins and what we did with the Native Americans. Not my happiest, best time, but I figured maybe we could all take some time and share some things that, we are thankful for, this Thanksgiving. And if there's anything that's, sticks in any of your minds and whoever wants to go first, feel free.
I personally am thankful for my family and the support they give me, living across the country from them. I am originally a New Yorker like you, Sean. It just makes me realize how lucky I am to have that support because not everyone has that support. Not everyone has a great relationship with their family. And that's just something I treasure. Anything I want to do, sometimes it comes with a fight, but ultimately they've got my back and it's just really special.
I agree. Kat?
I'm thankful for friends, for meeting all you guys this year, for family who have been so supportive. I'm thankful that I have a roof over my head, that there's some food in the fridge. because there's so many people right now that are in horrible situations. You know, you just look at people in the Ukraine, so many refugees, and you look at how the world is affected, the economy is affected, and people can't afford food and, you know, to heat their homes and stuff. And I just think be thankful for the little things you've got in life, whether or not you wake up in the morning and you are able to exercise. If you feel healthy, be thankful for that. I just think appreciate the little things, because there's so many people right now that have nothing or are going through devastating times. And I'm thankful to be here, and I'm thankful, you know, for every little moment that brings me a smile, basically.
Awesome.
Oh.
What about you, Eugenia?
Well, I'm really thankful for you guys just being in the moment, you know, and talking and connecting. We're still not live, but, you know, any kind of connection, I think it's so human, something that we crave. So I'm really thankful to kind of come back to that in some capacity. I think they say always, like, if you have health, you have everything. And if you don't have health, you have absolutely nothing. So definitely thankful for that, you know, and I agree with Kat. There's so many people who suffer from wars and, you know, disasters and economic kind of turmoil right now in the world. You can just be thankful for waking up every morning and having some kind of food on the table and a roof over your head, and not having crime, you know, because there's so much in LA that's happening right now. So as long as I'm not mugged, I'm thankful. I'm thankful for my kids, because they just, you know, make me laugh every day, and dogs. And I'm grateful for my enemies. That's one thing that I really, really learned, I think, in life, because they teach me the most lessons. You know, people who kind of bring trouble in your life, they actually are people who teach you something about you as well. So I'm thankful for that too.
Who are they, and what are their addresses so we can harass them?
You're naughty.
Saying, might make you more thankful. Who knows? I'm just saying, you know.
How about you?
Yeah, I'm thankful for my enormous penis. May or may not, but I don't know. So we'll just leave it there. But no, I'll move forward. Like, what I didn't realize until, like, I remember my high school yearbook. So many people were like signing, like, I've never met anyone like you. And so I didn't realize like how different and freaky my personality actually was. So on a sincere note, I really want to thank, you know, my family and my friends and everybody who's like been in my life for so long, for just kind of going with the flow and accepting, because I think in my own case, I'm more nature versus nurture. Like, I'm not really like anybody around me. Nobody around me really was involved or interested in the arts. Nobody around me, you know, really loved to travel so much, or, you know, was fascinated by like celebrity and entertainment, and like everything that fascinated me just seemed to be different from like what my normal family's interests were. And they never put the kibosh or said not to do it. You know, they just let me be me and do me. And so I've got to really be thankful for that. And, you know, for whatever the real results may be, maybe some of the people in the world are like, no, you should have stopped it. But other than that, I would like to just say thank you, everybody, for like the love and the support. And, yeah, I'm feeling, and of course, yes, I think health is something I often take for granted. I think a lot of us do, until, you know, that day you have the really bad flu, or until something arises and then you're like, oh, and then it really slaps you in the face. So definitely grateful, you know, for that as well. And one of the reasons why I wanted to ask this question is I just truly believe that every day, happiness is a choice. You know, we can decide, you know, everything that happens to us, it's all really how we react to it. So yes, things can be terrible. We can have horrible news, and it doesn't mean we have to be elated with that terrible news. But we can handle it as best as possible. We could choose to see the positive in it. Like, even like, you know, Eugenia, where you're mentioning, you know, you're thankful for your adversities, or for somebody who may have, you know, put an obstacle in your way because it made you a better, brighter person. You're choosing to look at that side of it, instead of like being limited by like, oh, how dare they do X, Y, and Z, and I didn't deserve this. Because at the end of the day, you might be correct, but it doesn't solve anything. I think really the more we claim power in our own lives, like saying like, okay, this is where I'm at, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, then the more empowered we are. If we're constantly like, well, I'm here because my dad was poor, I was abused by my priest, my neighbor ignored me, whatever the case may be, and we all have a story to tell, it doesn't empower you because now it's on them. They have to come around. They have to see the light. They have to beg you for forgiveness or whatever. So I wish, this Thanksgiving, that everybody just, finds the joy in their own life and brings it to as many people as possible. So that's my little thought about the matter, I guess.
I love that. And I'm going to say, Sean, what you said about your personality, you're perfect, my friend, absolutely perfect.
Oh,
so I love the fact that you're larger than life and you're flamboyant and everything like that. And I think all of us that probably work in the arts have had that we do feel slightly different. Because, my family were very conservative and there's me wanting to go into acting or whatever. And that got squashed out of me. And I love the fact that you have been allowed to be whoever you wanted to be. And, I think that's beautiful. You're an amazing person. If people don't like it, then they don't have a place in your life. So that's my 2 cents worth on that.
I'll take that. Why not? Talking about 2 cents. Now, does anybody do the whole Black Friday and Cyber Monday thing? Like, honestly, like every now and then, like Amazon, and then during the whole pandemic, when I was home, I decided like, I need a Roomba because, I didn't have it. I needed an air fryer because I didn't have it. I was just bored to damn tears. I bought a plant. I don't know what to do with a plant. The damn thing almost died. Then I had to call them. But anyhow, we worked it all out. So, that's when I was more into it, when I was so isolated. What about you, ladies? Do you get into any of the sales after Thanksgiving? Or not really?
I think it happens. Diana,
No, go ahead.
Okay, so I think right now, we've had so many Amazon Prime days where there's been really good deals. It's kind of taking away from Black Friday. But for me this year, I kind of think spending a lot of money on stuff you don't need for Black Friday, I think it just seems a bit wrong this year. And I would rather, if I have some spare money or whatever, donate to, say, Ukraine, or put together food parcels or something for, the homeless or the food banks. I'd rather help other people out this year. And because I think we get wrapped up in our own heads and we're like, oh, I need a new cinema-sized TV, or I need a new vacuum cleaner. You don't need anything. There's so many people that need stuff. I think it'd be really beautiful if this year for Black Friday, everyone donated something, whether it was $1 or $1,000 to a charity. And I'm going to challenge the FNL Network viewers to do something for someone else on Black Friday, because I think it should be. I think there's so many people struggling this year. I just kind of think, reverse your mentality. Don't make it about me. Make it about what can I do for somebody else. So that's my 2 cents worth on Black Friday this year.
I like it. One thing I want to share, I tried before to volunteer at a soup kitchen in New York, and they said we don't need any more volunteers. I'm like, are you kidding me? Homelessness is eradicated in New York. You don't need any volunteers. They closed the list. You have to be VIP to slop some soup at a soup kitchen on Thanksgiving or Christmas. I'm like, really? I needed to be invited on the guest list to serve the homeless? It's insane. But that's how New York works. So if you want to work in a soup kitchen on Thanksgiving or Christmas, don't go to New York. I'm just saying. That was my experience.
Like SNL, it's like this year's hottest nightclub is the soup kitchen. It has everything.
Exactly. It's that's where we all want to be. Give me turkey, give me turkey. I have no idea. No idea.
My God. Well, for me, I only take advantage of the online deals. It takes a lot to get me up out of bed before the sun rises. And for the sake of everyone around me, I want to be a pleasant human being in the store. So we're not going to wake up for Black Friday. However, my ex needed a TV one time. He desperately needed a TV. And we were those people, I hated it, but we were those people who went out on Thanksgiving for his TV, the things you do for love. And we were marching in the store, and I'm like, this just feels so wrong. I am embarrassed, but he got his TV.
And what happened to him?
Oh, I don't even know. He's probably working at the same store, doing the same thing. God bless.
All right. Thankfully, he's gone. Boom.
Yeah, I'm thankful for that. He's someone else's problem now.
Here we go. Exactly.
Oh my God, it's so cute. Oh my God, amazing that you guys, say Kat, like, and everybody about taking care of others. I always try to think about that as well, especially homelessness now. Like talking about New York, it's so funny how you say it's maybe disorganized, the soup kitchen, because I'm sure there's so many homeless. It's just not
Yes.
organized in a certain way. So maybe they need to change the system. But I was talking to my dear friend and my publicist who literally goes out in Los Angeles to tents, and he brings like blankets to people and just puts together little kind of little things. And I know it's terrifying now because we see on the news that homeless people are so violent, or there was like a serial killer who was killing homeless. I don't know. It's a crazy world, but I think it's still really important to do small things for others. I never actually understood like Black Friday shopping. I'm terrified of crowds. So I can't even go in concerts, so just people running in the stores maniacally makes me absolutely terrified. And I also never figured out Black Friday and the TV thing. Like, what is it about Black Fridays and TVs? It's so American. It's like, okay, let me buy my reality like for the next year. But to say my fault, like what I did, I was obsessed about buying something when I was in Europe. It's from Celine, and it's called a boyfriend t-shirt, which apparently is like a super regular t-shirt, but for some reason I needed to buy it. And I drove all the way from London to Paris just to get that shirt. Went to 3 shops, couldn't find it. It was like a joke at the end of the day, but I was obsessed about buying it, just to explore myself a little bit this year. So that's my guilty thing. But I think it depends. Mental health is a big thing, and if it makes you happy to get a little thing, I think it's good, as long as you just don't use it as an excuse. I was asking stores in Europe, and they say that people this year actually buy more than usual, because after pandemic we just all understand that our life is kind of like short and limited, and there's so many things, so people kind of splurge just because of that. So it was an interesting fact that I learned personally.
It is. I mean, and I also think on a small level, like, I don't know. I mean, not to try to make myself into Saint Sean, but like today, I got a deal like with T-Mobile. I wanted them to lower my price and update my phone, because my other phone, when I was laying in the sun in LA, the volume was acting wonky. So I'm like, okay, let me get the new iPhone, whatever, even though I don't really care that the camera's better. But so whatever. So my intention today was, when I went to the store, it's like, I want to like leave, whoever is working at this T-Mobile store with hooking up my phone and taking my exchange happier than I started with them. And that was just kind of like my intent. And at the end, she was like, thank you for being patient. Thank you for being so nice. So many people like, leave, and they're all angry and they're not patient. I'm like, well, just remember, they're going to die earlier than you of a heart attack. Just like things like this. And so I think I succeeded. So in my mind, just to like whoever may be watching our show, it doesn't have to be monetary. I mean, bringing a smile to someone, or, whatever your gift is, whether it's like, just, smiling at somebody who's normally not smiled at, or if you have, the ability to tell a joke like myself or what have you, that can actually make a difference as well. And it's kind of nice to know, like, okay, I purposely wanted to make sure I was a good human being. Check, I succeeded, and I should do that more often, for my own self, I don't know. That was my little takeaway from today.
Great.
Oh, I have one more thing to add. If anybody is doing anything for homeless people, like if you are taking food to them, a lot of homeless people won't accept food because it has been tampered with in the past. I know in London, I've tried to give stuff to people and they won't take it because they say that needles have been stuck in and food has been contaminated. So the best way to give something to a homeless person is to go to like Subway and buy a gift card from Subway. And that way you can feed them that way and they don't have anything to worry about because they can go and they see the food being made. But that is a big concern for homeless people, is that even packaged food, that it has been tampered with. So, I mean, I know that at the moment I'm collecting stuff for the food bank, like tins and stuff. I'm collecting stuff for the dog rescue places, but also I'm trying to do stuff for homeless people too. And I think the way to do it is definitely gift cards. so that they can go and choose what they want and they don't have the fear of, you know, something might have been drugged or something.
Well, and I think it's sad too, because like a couple bad people ruin it for everybody. Because here in New York, I'd even heard too, when I first came to town, my side job was like cater waitering these big events with celebrities and everything else. And they would just throw out like all this filet mignon and all this, you know, seafood and so forth. And we're all in our 20s. We're like, why aren't we doing something with this food and giving it to the homeless and people who really need it and, you know, what have you? And they said they were sued by homeless people who ate something and then they had an allergy to it or said something was wrong with it. And so then, unless they have insurance, they can't just give it away because they're afraid of the repercussions that would happen to them, even though it's a 5-star restaurant or catering company or what have you. So, I mean, it is sad that a couple like crazies who might try to harm the homeless or a couple homeless who are just extra greedy, you know, can ruin it, you know, for all these people. And I remember, you know, when I went to NYU, I was there like day one and like, you know, again, we're like kids and they gave us like a free NYU bologna sandwich, you know, for our like 20,000 a year. It's like a welcome. And then, you know, we see the homeless people, we're like, hey guys, let's be nice and give it to the homeless. You know, we go and I was like, hey, would you like a sandwich? And they're like, what is it? I don't know. I looked, I was like, oh, it's bologna. And he's like, nah, I don't eat bologna. And just because I've always been here, I'm like, but you're homeless. I was like, you know, so my good kind of didn't stay as good, but I was like 17, I didn't know better. But yeah, it was like very odd and interesting. And then I remember one time, a homeless woman, I didn't know this could happen, at Wendy's in New York when I first moved to New York. She's like, can I have some money for food? I'm in the Wendy's. I don't go to Wendy's anymore, but I gave her money. And then she left. And I was just so shocked. She didn't get the food. I was like, she didn't want Wendy's. She wanted a crack burger. She didn't want a real burger. I was just like so sad. But I do agree that a gift card to a restaurant is a good way to go. It's not direct money, and then they have to use it at a restaurant. So that is a good solution.
Oh, it definitely is, because with addiction and stuff, as we all know, my sister's a heroin addict. If you do give money, it goes on the wrong stuff. So like, for example, you know, my parents would take her grocery shopping and they'd make so she could choose her groceries rather than give her money to get her own groceries, because then she would spend it on whatever she could get, you know what I mean, that would give her a fix. So, and as we know on the streets, there is a lot of alcoholism, a lot of addiction. And definitely the safest way for everyone is, you know, In-N-Out burger gift card or a Subway gift card or whatever, something there's a lot of them about, Starbucks, you know, or do one of the pay it forwards, you know, a coffee shop, you can pay it forward to someone who can't afford a coffee, because like with winter coming, there's so many people that are cold, and you know, it's a nice thing if you're buying a coffee, buy one for, you know, someone who needs it and pay it forward, you know. So
definitely, I like it. And now, for those of us who may be celebrating and not homeless and overeating, any secrets to maintaining your weight and beauty, beautiful women? How do you do it? What do you do? Come on. How do you stay looking like you? Come on, we need to know. This isn't fair. Most
I don't watch during the holidays.
What happens? How do you do this?
Yeah, I don't watch during the holidays. All bets are off. Like, my mom makes rice balls. I don't make them out here. Like, game over. I'm stuffing my face with the rice balls. I'm stuffing my face with the fried raviolis. And when I fly back to LA, we're dealing with the repercussions. Like, it is what it is.
Love it. Right? Shooting all the way. Oh, I love it. What about you, Eugenia and Kat?
Well, you know, I have a t-shirt that says I'm so hungry, which is just rhetorical. Actually, coming from Food Line, you know, it's so weird. I don't have as much emotional attachment to food. It's more like a survival thing. So I think it's very different, you know. I think it's important to have a balance in your life. I watch some of my friends, especially in the modeling industry, who are like so strict with one thing, and then it gets into the mental problem, you know, where you have like problems like anorexia or bulimia. You know, I think you just really have to listen to your body and be intuitive about it, because your body always knows. And as we all know, you know, in pandemic, I heard all of my friends like, oh, we gained like 50 pounds or whatever. And it's true, you know, I think we do eat to comfort ourselves a lot of times. So as long as you understand that and just educate yourself, but also not overthink it, Like I know a person who changes his diet like literally every 2 months, and it goes from like now he eats only meat and then he's only vegetarian. And it's like, it's so mental, you know, and it's okay to be yourself and not to be body shamed. And there's so much pressure. I think it definitely comes from your mentality and accepting your body for how it is and how it feels healthy. And there is no like right or wrong way, as long as you feel you have energy, because food is energy. As long as you feel like you eat nutritious food and it's not GMO, I think it's important. You know, it's like even they came up with all this fake meat, and you have to research what's inside there, you know. So I think as long as you educate yourself and stay balanced, that's the key for me personally. I know if I say I'm not going to eat cakes for the next week, I definitely will wake up and want to eat the cake. So that's personally me.
What about you, Kat? Anything in particular?
I think it's actually kind of quite dangerous to talk about. I think, you know, if you're going to enjoy like Thanksgiving, you're going to enjoy Christmas, go out and enjoy it. But I mean, I have a memory from, I think when I was 15, and my nana said something to me at the Christmas dinner table, and it scarred me for life, and it still scars me now. And that was the last time I ever did Christmas. Never done it since. I don't celebrate it. But I think, you know, I think it's really dangerous to talk about, you know, oh, you know, I've eaten too much, I've drunk too much, I'm going to go on this diet. Just like Eugenia said, balance, enjoy yourself and do something to balance it. I mean, in the UK, we have Christmas Day and then we have Boxing Day. I don't think you guys have Boxing Day here. But Boxing Day was traditionally, it's kind of like a second Christmas, but instead of the gluttony, you're going out, you're going for a long family walk, or if you were an aristocrat, you would go hunting or shooting. You would do something that was an activity that was sporty, that got you outside, got you moving. And, you know, it very much creates a balance. And I think, yeah, enjoy your 3-course meal or your, you know, Baileys, your cocktails, whatever else you want to enjoy, have a good time. But also, you know, we're not stupid. We know that if we sit on the sofa and we just eat and drink for the whole of the holiday season, we're not going to be happy with ourselves. So it's like, have some self-control, you know, don't be a glutton every single day. And I think, you know, if you have got somebody or you know of somebody who does struggle from an eating disorder, never make a big deal about it. Don't, you know, allow them to navigate the holidays the best they can, be there to support. Because like I said, you know, I mean, we all know that I've been through stuff. And, you know, what happened to me was, it just scarred me. It really did scar me because of how a family member treated me. And I remember, you know, how upsetting it was, not just for me, but for the whole of my immediate family, so my parents and stuff. But, you know, my cousins, my cousin still remembers that event. And the next year, my mum and me, we actually went on holiday, so we didn't have to face Christmas. And, you know, we left my dad and my brother. I think my sister was already doing her own thing by then. You know, and I just think, don't put any pressure on anybody and just, you know, relax. And I think it's a very dangerous time of year for a lot of people for many different emotional reasons, you know. I mean, Christmas has been very difficult for my family because, as you know, we're kind of split up because of drug addiction. My parents brought up my sister's kids. The youngest is father's dad. And it just is, it's a very difficult time of year. And I just, you know, I think, you know, with food and everything else, I just think kind of relax, balance, just do what feels right to you. Like, I don't celebrate Christmas and, you know, Thanksgiving, and that's the best way for me. It's just another day of the year, and I do what I normally do with food, which is food for energy, food because you have to eat to function. But I'm all for people celebrating and doing whatever. Just know your strengths, know your weaknesses, and find a good balance. So,
and I think you could, if you wanted to, Kat, reclaim the holiday to make it your own, you know, to be honest, because I know so many people, like, you know, a lot of us don't have perfect families or even good families or functional families. And so they'll have, like, you know, a Friendsgiving, you know, instead of, like, you know, with their family. or with their chosen family or their chosen ones. And again, it can be ornate or it could be cheap. It can be anything you want it to be. It could be at a house, it could be at a restaurant. If you decided you need to, I don't think you need to. I don't think somebody has to celebrate a holiday because most of the world is. It's like, I think, Chinese restaurants stay open on Christmas because the Jewish people exist. And so they know they can go there, they can go to a movie. So, I mean, there's like all these different cultures and different celebrations, and it doesn't mean you need to partake or not. But I think you can claim it. I mean, for myself, as far as telling people what to eat or not, I'm the worst because I'm a glutton by nature. And then I combine it with narcissism. Here's the perfect, horrible example. I do a lot of traveling for like trade shows and public speaking. And so a year or two back, I remember going on a scale and I was like, well, clearly the scale is wrong. It's like, the scale is clearly I'm not as fat as this scale says. Clearly this scale is broken. And then, like I did like an interview on like a local news channel and it's like, this looks a little chubby, but whatever, I'm still rocking it. Okay, fine. Then I find another scale and it agreed with the original scale. So I had to be like, no, you're a fatness. Stop eating at every hotel and apartment, like airport lounge you go to, and every like little, free fried thing that they throw at you, because it's not adding up to a good equation. But it took several scales for me to agree that it wasn't the scale lying, but it was myself lying to myself. So, I do teeter back and forth. I can't give advice. I have no advice as far as how to be sensible, as far as what to eat. I'm just like, to you, boo, to you. That's all I could say. But I think, Kat, you had a couple things you wanted to bring up or whatever for today.
I want to go back to something you said about reclaiming Christmas. And I think that's really important because I have things that I do on Christmas. And
Sure.
For example, I used to go for a long hike every day. And, I did it in South Africa. I went for hours and hours and hours. I've done it in the UK in the snow and the rain. I do it here. And, it was time for, it was kind of my happy place with my dog. And we would head off for a long, long, long hike. And then the only other thing that I did that was Christmas is my dog had a Christmas stocking every year because she loved tearing paper off things. So I did that because that made me happy. It made me happy seeing her so excited about something. So I think, whether or not it's put on a face mask, go for a hike, if you don't celebrate, do something that makes you happy. Have a pamper day, have a bubble bath, go and if you have a hot tub outside, go and sit in the hot tub, do something that's self-care for yourself, whether or not it's, mental self-care or just, candles in the bathtub. So I think what you said is really important.
Excellent. Well, thank you. And I think there was a topic you wanted to mention as far as like heroin chic or something coming back into
this has come back. And I saw it the other day. There was basically a post that's saying that heroin chic is back. And we all remember that Kate Moss in the 90s was the poster girl for heroin chic, very much, I'm going to say the slightly sick looking body because, not everybody's designed to be a waif. Not everybody has no boobs and no butt. And I don't know how people feel about this because, for me, I'm straight up, straight down. I actually had a fitting the other day and they were complaining because I didn't have a bra. And the reason I don't have a bra is I can't get a 30 AA people. And the woman at the fitting was complaining to me because I didn't have a nude bra. And I'm like, I can bounce up and down and they don't move, there's that little there. And I think there's the media, saying that this body type's back. It's a bit dangerous. It's like saying that slim, thick, with the typical Kardashian thing with the boobs and the small waist and the butt. I think all that's dangerous. And I think, going to the heroin chic, it's definitely not for the average person. It isn't. And I think if we are going back that way, it's very sad. I think, we should just accept all body types and we should accept health in general. It shouldn't be this is in or that's in, And I don't know how other people feel about that because I think it's a big thing that they are saying that heroin chic is back. I think it's unhealthy and a little bit horrifying. I mean, I'm going to do my own happy dance because for the first time in years, I am in fashion. But, it's not normal. So
yeah, I mean, I think just being in fashion, honestly, like in coming from magazines, they were such a big dictation for everybody. Like, what are you supposed to be? But now, you guys, I feel like the TikTok, that's where people are looking at. Like, actually having my daughter, like, I admire her. She's 10, and they look up to so many different people and influencers, and who have voice, and they don't do like body shaming as much. To be honest, I think it just changed a little bit. Yeah, of course, fashion will always be fashion, and like people will come up with one thing or another just to sell products. So I remember actually this trend started with like Miu Miu and having really low waist skirts 2 seasons ago, and I was like, yeah, that's going like an opposite direction of the curves. So it is definitely there, and you can notice that. But I think kids now, I'm not so worried about it. I think they definitely have different role models than, but maybe I'm wrong, I just think, I was talking to my husband, he's like, now nothing matters but TikTok, literally. Like, you don't need to do fashion editorials, you don't need to do photography, you don't need to do movies, nobody cares. Like, it's all TikTok. And I don't think only like people, I think people set their own TikTok accounts, right? I don't think it's that monitored. I think it's about different things than just how you look, right? What do you guys think? What do you think, Sean?
To me, I think for whatever odd reason, societies tend to choose whatever is the rarest as the most special or the most beautiful. Like, so like I'd always heard, in Africa where food was a problem, people who were more overweight were celebrated for being hefty, or even back in the day with the kings in London and England and so forth, hefty was like considered like, oh, they're rich because they eat too much, whereas everybody else is starving to death. So I think we always have these odd, barometers of what we should aspire to, and they try to keep it almost at the unattainable. And even to dating myself with Ally McBeal, I remember back in the day and the show, they were criticizing how skinny she was. And then Courtney Cox and the entire cast of Friends became emaciated right after. And everybody else started following suit. Same thing with J-Lo. They were making fun of her booty. And then everybody started buying the booty. Like, it would start as like a criticism, and then all of a sudden it becomes a trend. So I think the thing is, you need to know your parameters, your own beauty, what your body is meant to look like, what's attainable, what's not, what's too much, what's not too much. I think by nature, I'm not meant to have an 8-pack. If I wanted to like never eat anything I enjoyed and never have a cocktail, I could probably attain it, but I'll settle for 4. I'm fine with half my friends. I could be missing the other half. It's all right. We all make our own adjustments accordingly, so that's my take on it. And I think we're all very critical of each other, and a little bit more so. But to your point, Eugenia, I do think, even on Broadway and everything now, you'll have plus size dancers and different ethnicities. Like, I just saw Some Like It Hot on Broadway. And at first, and I don't know, and like, hopefully this isn't a horrible thing to say, but Marilyn Monroe is so iconic that when I saw that same role cast as an African-American female, I couldn't picture it. I was like, is it going to be any good? And that woman beyond nailed it. Like, you wouldn't even think of Marilyn. Like, okay, it's a whole musical, and I think Marilyn had a decent voice, but this woman has chops. This woman can sing like a mofo. Like, she was beyond amazing, and her presence and her energy. And in retrospect, I thought it was a very smart decision, because you're not going to compare necessarily an African-American woman to Marilyn the whole time. Whereas if you put another white blonde, you would. You'd be like waiting for them to, do some mimicry or honoring the original role. And so I think in many ways, we are evolving as far as what a sex symbol can be, that it is the African-American woman. It doesn't have to be the blonde bombshell anymore. And, that they even addressed, which I liked, race in the 50s in that show. So they added that to the show. But anyhow, I think we're expanding a bit. Is everybody there or not? I don't know. I think so much of it is divided too. Like, what news channel do you watch? What's your religious beliefs? How open are you really? Do you just have to say one thing and feel another? But I think we're slowly getting better, and I don't really know about the heroin chic, but Kat, book every damn job. Go get them, girl. So I'm all for it. And don't do the heroin.
Yeah, that's actually what I wanted to add on. Like, every time we've said heroin chic, like, I don't know if you saw my face, but I'm just like, that is the grossest. Like, shame on the media for labeling it that. because overdosing, drug issues, the drug epidemic, is real. It's a problem. It's going to continue to be a problem until we do something about it. And I'm not the kind of person that gets offended by everything. You know, I'm all about being tongue in cheek when it's appropriate, but I just feel like the media projecting it to so many people, especially the vulnerable youth who are now looking at this body, right, as that the body that they want to attain, and then they see it labeled as heroin chic. I think we're just planting ideas in little minds, and it's just so upsetting.
I agree, especially after the opioid thing, you know?
Yeah, to add to that, like I saw an interview with Amber Valletta, this model for Prada, when it was heroin chic, and she was doing this Prada campaign when it was popular, and she said she was literally on heroin, passed out, and they took pictures of her in this boat. You guys can check, and she's absolutely clean, you know, to her journey, and talks about it. But she was saying that at the time nobody cared. Fashion just used that as an excuse to project an image of something being cool, you know. So I do think that, you know, fashion does have to take responsibility for that.
Yeah.
It definitely does. I mean, I remember doing this shoot and I had a razor blade, and the makeup artist was, you know, a special effects makeup artist. I had happy engraved on my stomach with blood dripping, and I was basically passed out holding this razor blade with happy written on my stomach, but with all the blood dripping down. Messed up, really messed up. But yeah, getting back to the heroin chic thing, I think the media they stir it a lot. And the fact that Kim Kardashian and Khloe Kardashian have lost a lot of weight, they're using those women who aren't traditional heroin chic, you know, body shapes. They're like saying, this is the movement, and they're using the most famous people they can kind of come across to promote this body type. And it's gross. It really is gross. If you're not naturally, you know, straight up, straight down, boyish figure, it's not obtainable. And like you guys said, I mean, I have a heroin addict sister. It's a pretty disgusting name. I mean, like the first time it came around, you never thought, well, I didn't think twice about it, but now it's just very wrong to be promoting it as this heroin chic. No, because it's more or less, it's like glamorizing drugs, and it's glamorizing everything. Can you look at, you know, Aaron Carter, he died in the last 48 hours, don't know the circumstances, but you know, so many people, so many celebrities, so many everyday people have real issues with addiction. It's just to morph it all together. I think talking about body type is horrible anyway. But just, you know, the media they stir things. It disgusts me. And yeah, they're just making money and promoting a story and using the most famous people they can find. You know, so what if Kim Kardashian lost weight? Do we care? No. I mean, I like, you know, Lizzo, for example. She's, you know, big, beautiful, massive personality. She's perfect. Love her. And I just think we don't celebrate these people enough, you know?
Sure, I think it's important to find who you really are and actually not follow trends. I mean, that's the first time I started working in fashion, actually, is because I was, after anorexia, I stopped following the trends, and I was like, I need to know who I am as a person and what makes me different. And it's so much better to be a trendsetter than a trend follower. So, you know, that's where creativity lives. That's, you know, how are you unique and different in your own way? And it is hard sometimes because you go against, you know, against the trends, and you're different and you'll be laughed at. But, you know, I think that's what it's important, at least to teach the kids, or the vulnerable people who do try to fit in.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Well, all of you are unique, like little snowflakes. I say no to heroin, yes to turkey for the holidays. You know, no heroin chic. No. But look at these three chic women who are here with me today. So yeah, I just want to thank you ladies for joining me. Thank everybody for listening. And any final comments from anyone or final thoughts?
No, just everybody have a really amazing week and do something that makes you smile, and do something for someone else that makes them smile. So,
Amen. That's good. And feel free to donate money to me because that would make me smile. So you can feel free to look me up at ShantiBennett.com. Send as much money as you have. It's all right. It'll just make me smile. It's clearly for the season of Thanksgiving. Clearly, just give. Just keep giving until really you have nothing else in your bank account. I'm fine with that, really. Where am I? And I want to go to your family's house.
You're going to buy us all a house. That would be lovely.
Oh, I didn't hear what you said, Sean.
I want to go to your family's house. I want.
Oh yeah, everyone know my mom would be so happy. The more the merrier. Get on that fried ravioli.
Let's do it. That's where I'm going this Christmas. I'm just saying. All right. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Have a beautiful holiday season.